What is she talking?
You are clowns.
Hey guys, it's Jermaine and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time on my channel, I just want to say welcome. My name is Jermaine. I make videos about the fat acceptance, fat liberation, body positive movement. I share with you guys my thoughts in this community and how they influenced my life back when I was obese myself. I used to believe in all their mantras and how I was big and I was beautiful and I didn't need anybody to tell me otherwise. I just took all those lies and I ate it up and I just stayed fat for the longest time. And then one day I had a revelation. No, actually it wasn't just one day, it was like transitionally I had a revelation, and then I decided to change my life, and now I'm on this side exposing and making videos about that community. If you're into those kind of videos, then you might want to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell because I upload new videos at least once a week. If you're returning to my channel, I just want to say welcome back. Thank you for clicking on this video. Thank you for being a part of my little family here on YouTube. I love you guys and appreciate you so much. Now for today's video, we're going to be reacting and discussing a TikTok video that I found. It was so wildly nonsense, the things that she was saying, that I just so needed to take it from TikTok and bring it here to you guys and discuss it with you. So let's just check this clip out.
Whenever people argue that fat phobia isn't really a thing or shouldn't be a thing, one of the main reasons they usually cite is that it's not on par with other forms of oppression, like racism or homophobia, for one reason and one reason only, that they believe fat people are in complete control of their weight and therefore are choosing to be fat. And so you cannot be oppressed for making a choice. I think the Puritans who came to America to escape religious persecution might have a different opinion on that.
Firstly, can we just take a moment to say how she's comparing wanting to eat 10 cheeseburgers and grow so big on purpose, being forced to eat a human amount of food and avoid obesity and the health conditions that comes with it, is the same as people who were not given a freedom of religion to practice their religion. What kind of madness? What is she talking? I just want to say that it would be extremely unsafe if there was a world or there was like a place that all the fat acceptance people could like congregate and like escape to. Like, just say if it was a place where they're like, okay, this is all fat people safe place. Oh, okay, for example, do you know how like fat acceptance have this like event every year or something where it's like a fat camp or something, like, no, not fat camp, what is it, something like a festival of some sort. Guys, I'll put it here if I can find it. It's for like fat, they were posting this all over the internet for a period of time, inviting like fat people to buy tickets and to go there and just be like free and fat, and like there's pools and there's speakers. It's just like an all fat vacation. Do you guys remember? Do you know what I'm talking about? Just imagine a place like that, just all these fat people, fat acceptance people, everyone's just celebrating and encouraging people to just eat more and eat whatever you want and just be fat and merry. That would be extremely unsafe. Everyone was just fat. Imagine if somebody got injured or one of them fell down and hurt themselves really bad, and you are supposed to rely on these other fat people who need to like push their stomachs out of the way to help save. Like, I cannot imagine. That would be a circus. The confidence and conviction in her voice is hilarious. I've seen a couple of this girl's videos. She's always talking some kind of nonsense. Let me know if you guys know who she is. She's always saying some kind of nonsense, but the way she says it, like the confidence in her speech, is just so foolish. But teach us more, please.
Anyway, the idea that a qualifier for claiming oppression, or that you're having bigotry targeted at you, or that you get to say something is your group phobic, is dependent on whether or not it is a choice, is absolutely absurd. Because you do not know everyone's story. You want to say that you do, but you don't know. And here, a lot of people will say that, oh, it's okay if a person's fat because they have a medical condition or they're taking a medication that makes them gain weight. That's okay. But those other bad fat people, those are not okay. And so it's not fat phobia, because most people are fat because of their own like actions that are completely 100% in their control.
Firstly, do I agree that fat people are somewhat oppressed? Maybe to a certain extent, yes. As somebody who was obese myself, I can say that yes. Try being fat in Malaysia. I've said this many times before. Like, it's a whole other ball game. It really humbles you. So yeah, are fat people oppressed? To a certain extent, I would say yes. You get judged, you get looked at weird, you get denied opportunities. I remember when I was fat and I was 21 years old and I applied, no, not 21, I think I was like 19 years old, and I applied for a job to work as a promoter, to promote like those food stuff in Tesco. Is like a hypermarket. I don't know if you have it in your country. So I went and applied for the job to be a promoter, and it was like 100 ringgit a day, and this was like me after school. First they thought it was my sister that needed the job, and they were like, oh yeah, we do have vacancy and we are looking for people. And then after that they realized that it was actually me, it wasn't my sister. You could see the reaction on their face, and they were like, just so you know, you will need to stand for 8 hours or 12 hours or something like that, and there is no sitting except during your break time, and then like 15 minutes in between, 15 minutes before your lunch break and after your lunch break. But then when I really think about it, it makes sense that they would be thinking twice about hiring me, because there is a high chance I couldn't stand. And it's true, during that season of my life, I couldn't walk for long. I've shared before about what it was like being fat, how my mom in her 50s, she had to be the one like carrying the bag. She had to take breaks for me because she needed to wait for me to catch my breath, to massage my knees so that I can continue walking again. Like, I was so heavy, my knees couldn't take it, so there is no way I could take that job. And also, I'm not gonna lie guys, I was also a very lazy person when I was obese. Like, I just didn't like doing stuff, which is why I feel like fat acceptance always say they hate being perceived as lazy. But the truth is, you do get a little bit lazy when you're fat and overweight, and I tell you why. Because it is exhausting trying to carry that weight around to do stuff. It's so tiring. No one is standing and washing dishes for so long. Like, to carry that weight and to do labor, it's not easy. Fat people usually appear lazy because it is tiring being fat, carrying all that weight. It is tiring. And on top of that, if you don't work out, you're not someone who's fit. Like, you've got no stamina, you've got no endurance to do anything. Just sit. So yeah, being fat, you may not be offered much opportunities. You may be judged and looked at weird. I would say yes, there is some level of oppression there. When you go to the doctor just assume everything is about your weight, which is true. I've been there as well. I've experienced it. As a fat person, you need to be louder to be heard, because no one's paying attention to you. No one even likes looking at you. When I was obese, I literally was just invisible. Either I'm invisible or it's so obvious that I'm there because I'm an inconvenience to people. I take up way more space, so it's something that people just can't avoid but look at me and get annoyed or roll their eyes. No one takes you seriously. I shared that as well before about what it's like being obese. No one took me seriously. I was always like the funny one. I was just a joke. And also, you're not perceived as feminine. As a woman, you're not perceived as feminine when you're so obese. I had to be like tough and fend for myself and be more masculine, only because no one was looking at me as a feminine person. Actually, I am a very feminine person. It actually took me losing weight, looking after myself, taking care of myself, that made me realize and become more feminine. So yeah, all of this is a form of oppression. But I tell you what's more oppressive than society oppressing you. That heavy weight pressing down on your knees and your back. The fact that I feel better only when I'm sitting, and walking really sucks because I get tired very quickly. The fear, I don't know if other fat people have this, but the fear I used to have, I'm really sick or whatever, I used to fear, what if I fainted or what if I fell? Like, nobody's going to be able to carry me or pick me up. That was a very big fear of mine. Or I even used to think about, like, what if I got trapped in a burning building? Imagine the fire squad trying to get me out of there. It is not easy. I remember there was a story one time I've shared before on this channel, but me and my friends, we went on like a vacation someplace, and there was like this hiking thing where people could go on like this long hike up the forest, and there was a group. So one of this guy, he is the one who's like in charge of like organizing these things for people. So he came up to me and my friends, and he was just having a chat with us, and he told us a story that happened that day, where a group of guys, they were walking up, and one of the guy was like really obese, like heavy, and he insisted that he wanted to go up as well. And then the guy was like, I'm just letting you know, it's very steep, it's a long walk, the forest is more of like a hill type of forest. The guy was like very sure that he could do it. And so he went. Along the way, he couldn't do it anymore, and he kind of like fell, and he just couldn't get up. And I don't know whether he fell or he fainted or something like that. I think he fainted. They had to call the fire station, and so all these firemen went up there, and they were supposed to bring this guy down. But this guy, and it's also raining, by the way, so it's very slippery. This dude was so heavy, when the firemen were trying to carry him down, one of the guy, they couldn't balance him. He's so heavy that one of the guy slipped and broke his leg. The fireman broke his leg trying to carry down this fat ball of a man, because he was so stubborn and he believed he could go up there, and he didn't heed any of the warning, and He caused a problem for other people. But this is what fat people be doing. Aren't they just always causing problems? Isn't Jaylin always asking us to give her things because she's fat? Just because of that, she deserves a whole bunch of things just because she's fat. Nothing is more oppressive than you being a prisoner in your own body. Why in the world would you want to be defending obesity? You could be defending anything. Why would you want to defend being trapped in a heavy body that is causing an inconvenience to you as well? Like, you are friggin' suffering. Like, stop lying. Everybody knows it's suffering. If there was never a fat person who lost weight, maybe these fat people can lie to us. But there's a whole bunch of fat people who have lost weight and they will tell you otherwise. We know what it's like to be that heavy and we know how suffering it is. And there are way heavier people than what I was. And I cannot imagine what that's like because I couldn't stand the life that I was living. It was friggin' suffering. You are oppressing yourself and you're here fighting and complaining about other people oppressing you by not giving you opportunities, by doing this, by doing that. Well, how about what you're doing to yourself? How about what you're doing to your body?
You get to say something is your group phobic is dependent on whether or not it is a choice is absolutely absurd. Because you do not know everyone's story. You want to say that you do, but you don't know.
No, ma'am, it is not absurd. If I was walking around with underwear on my head as headgear, it's a choice. If I get targeted and looked at weird or made fun of, like, what the heck is wrong with that girl? Why is she walking around with underwear on her head? It's not the best feeling if I get targeted. I would prefer not to get targeted like that. I might not go to certain places because I fear what people would say about me. I would rather go to places where people are more accepting of seeing somebody random with underwear on their head. Now, there's two things I could do. I could either just take away the underwear from my head because it's not doing me any good anyway. Underwears are not supposed to be on head. Or I could strut with pride and just walk down the streets and pretend as if I don't care what people are saying. I don't care how stupid I look with this underwear on my head. I'm just gonna do my thing and just don't complain about the stares and the mean things people are saying about my fashion statement. I don't need to know your story to know that you look stupid with underwear on the head. I don't need to know your story to know that you are so big that you are definitely prone to a whole bunch of disease, that you're living a life that's very unhealthy and very unsafe. I don't need to know your story to know any of that. We can't live life having to know everybody's story. The person with underwear on their head could be recovering from some PTSD. I don't know. Does it change the fact that you still look like an idiot with underwear on the head? No, it doesn't. It still looks odd that you've got underwear on your head. If you want to be fat and you want to be obese and you feel like you're happy that way, then go ahead and do your thing. But stop teaching us how to exist.
Because you do not know everyone's story. You want to say that you do, but you don't know. And here, a lot of people will say that, oh, it's okay if a person's fat because they have a medical condition or they're taking a medication that makes them gain weight. That's okay. But those other bad fat people, those are not okay. And so it's not fat phobia because most people are fat because of their own actions that are completely 100% in their control. I am not even going to tell you about all the reasons why it's actually not necessarily in people's control as much as you might think, because that is so irrelevant to how we are treating people on its face. How are you going to differentiate when you see a fat person between whether they have a medical condition that made them gain weight, or whether they're on a medication that made them gain weight, or whether they have good healthy habits, or whether they don't? You can't, but you dismiss fat people when you see them based on how they look. And that is fat phobia. You are generalizing a group of people based on how they look. You are ascribing negative characteristics to them based on one characteristic about them, which happens to be a characteristic that is frowned upon by society, that is systemically discriminated against, denied medical care, denied jobs more often, and not protected in 49 states, 48 states, 48 or 49. But most states do not count discrimination based on weight as something that can qualify you for employment discrimination legally, which is because we believe that being fat is 100% in someone's control. And if it's in their control, they should just lose weight instead of, getting treated decently no matter what they look like. Nobody deserves harassment no matter how they eat and no matter how they exercise. And I cannot believe that in 2023, y'all are arguing otherwise. You are clowns.
Medical conditions don't make you obese, okay? Can we please establish that? Doesn't Selena Gomez have a medical condition? I think she has lupus. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. She has lupus, I think. And she is on some medication that has made her very much overweight than what she was before. She's not obese. She still looks pretty. She may not be as slim as she was before because of the medication, but she's not obese. So yes, being that big is 100% in your control. Do you know what's really funny? All these fat acceptance people will tell you some general story about how fat people could be fat because of blah 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 of blah blah blah, but they'll never tell you their personal stories. Like, why are you fat, ma'am? What is your story? Why are you fat? Do you have some kind of disease? Like, why don't you tell us about your story? Why you always want to tell some general stuff about somebody could be going through depression and somebody could be on medication or somebody could be sick? Okay, somebody, how about you? What's your story? You want to be the voice? Be your own voice. Maybe tell us your story. Why are you fat? You're not going to tell me because you have nothing to tell me, unless you can maybe copy paste someone else's story and make it your own. It's just all empty blabs. Just blabbing away. Just blabbing. It's plain and simple. You just want to eat whatever you want, however much you want, with no rules whatsoever, and you don't want to move. Period. That's why you're fat. That's why you're obese. I can very easily just watch the lifestyle of fat acceptance from YouTube, TikTok, Instagram.
People are allowed to eat what they want without feeling guilty about it. Get over it.
You know.
You live that has gotten you the way that you are. So it's not disease. Because if it is disease, I'll see a very different story on your Instagrams and your TikToks. You guys are promoting how happy you are eating all these foods in large consumptions, processed foods. Like, you're so proud of it. So you're fat because of that. It's so obvious. Right after you go film yourself stuffing your face with McDonald's, you'll go on the internet and talk about how fat people are oppressed and fatness is not a choice. And then right after you say fatness is not a choice, you probably just go back and continue stuffing your face with your chips and your burgers and all your nonsense. I can't even take you seriously. At least show us, like, oh my gosh, look at all the medications I'm on, I'm suffering, I'm eating really healthy, but I can't help it. Like, you can't even show us that because it's not true. That life don't exist.
We believe that being fat is 100% in someone's control, and if it's in their control, they should just lose weight instead of, getting treated decently no matter what they look like. Nobody deserves harassment no matter how they eat and no matter how they exercise, and I cannot believe that in 2023, y'all are arguing otherwise. You are clowns.
Nobody is dismissing fat people. Okay, let's get that straight. No one is dismissing fat people. We have tons of fat famous people. We have tons of fat singers and actresses, and people who are doing great things out there as fat people. We do have a lot of fat people adding value to society as well. So if you're someone who adds value, people like you. But if you're someone on the internet just complaining and blabbing away about how people treat me so badly, about how let me be fat, fatness is not a choice, I want to eat cheeseburger but I didn't choose to be fat, like you're doing all of that, people don't take you seriously. So maybe you get treated badly because you're doing that. It looks stupid. You're not a disabled person. It's a lifestyle you chose. No ma'am, I'm not the clown, you're the clown. I'm so excited for the video that I have for you guys next week because I love how everything that she said, and then you follow up with another fat acceptance person just proving why people cannot stand fat people. Entitled fat people. Next week, we're talking about Jaylin Cheney. I cannot wait to show you guys that video. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with me? Am I being too harsh? Because I don't think I'm being too harsh. Like, these kind of people, when I see them, I start fuming. Because I have empathy for fat people in general. If you're a big person, I know what it's like. And it's not easy. Yes, the world don't treat you the best. But when you're an entitled, nothing up here, blabbermouth, then it starts like getting very irritating. Like, just keep quiet. Just don't talk. Anyway, I hope you guys like this video. Let me know what you think. Give me your comments below. I would love to read it and I would love to hear what you have to say. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell because I upload new videos at least once a week. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. The links are in the description box below and I'll see you guys in my next video.